Hey, hey, what's going on, y'all? What's up? What's up? Listen, I know I'm a little late, but life be lifing. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about any of that. Life be lifing. If you're here, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you're here. Go ahead and share, and let's get some people in the room. Let's have this conversation. Need to drink some more water, y'all. Hey, Chelsea. Hey, girl. Hey. Y'all coming in here, say, hey, what's up? Go ahead and share if you can. Let's get some people in here for more than one reason. But one reason I always say to share is because there's always people lurking that think they know what homeschooling is and think they have a, I don't want to say, well, I'll just say that they think they know what homeschooling is. It's always good for them to get an actual perspective from a homeschooler, somebody who's doing it. So yeah, bring them in. Can you hear me, Chelsea? Because you know my phone, it be tripping sometimes. It be tripping. If you're here, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you're here. Please share and let me know that you shared so that I can give you some love, shout you out. I'm sitting at soccer practice. Y'all know how it goes. Yep, thumbs ups are great. I appreciate it. They all work towards the goal of servicing the homeschool community. Hey, Fran. I can't believe you're back. I'm so glad you're back. Hi, Fran. Gotta fix my water, y'all. I'm getting tired of plain water, so I got a crystal light. Okay, so listen, I said last or Tuesday I wasn't gonna be before you long, and then I was there for an hour because y'all were asking some really good questions. So again, my plan is only to be here 30 or 45 minutes. But I will keep answering questions up until the very latest an hour. So y'all come on in here, ask whatever questions that you have. If you're unfamiliar with me, if you're new to me, my name is Sean Taylor. I go by the name of Sean, the homeschool guru, and I am a homeschool coach that specializes in helping families transition into homeschooling. I am a three-time Amazon best-selling author. I have classes on how to write curriculum. I do a virtual conference every June called the Tailor Made Homeschooling Virtual Conference. I'm a speaker, all that good stuff, right? So I'm not just out here pretending to be someone that I'm not. I'm actually out here in these homeschool streets doing the work, doing the research, and all that good stuff. That's good. Okay, that changed it. Um, so that's where I am. I am based in North Texas. I'm married. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to give you all the basic information. Married, we have three kids that we homeschool total. Homeschooled. So we have a 19-year-old. She graduated from homeschooling in May. And then we have a 16 and a 13-year-old that we are still currently homeschooling. My husband, because of the work that he does, is not involved in homeschooling as much as he likes to be. It's pretty much on my shoulders. But it is what it is. We never planned to homeschool ever, 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 like ever. This was not a part of our plan, our master plan, as far as what our family would look like, our family dynamics, and what we wanted to instill in our children. A lot of the things that we're doing in homeschool are based off of what we want to instill in our children, but we never, like, homeschooling was not part of that at all. Entrepreneurship became a part of it later on, but homeschooling was never a part of that. And so we've been homeschooling for, someone asked me yesterday, and I believe that it's somewhere around 2016, 2017, I believe is when we started homeschooling. And I created this page because there was nobody out there that looked like me that was doing this. There was nobody out there that was chill, cool, the average chick, maybe had a career or whatever the case may be, but had kind of been not pushed, but had decided to homeschool and was looking for some way to build community, looking for somewhere to ask questions, looking for someone to give life and speak hope into them. So I created this page in order to help do that. So that's what I do. That's my whole focus. I do have books, I have courses, all that stuff, but a lot of the information, as you can see, I do live Q&As, and so I give a lot of that away. So just being honest with you, giving the information away. So y'all come on in here. That's my spiel. Say what's up. Let me know how you're doing, what kind of questions you have when it comes to homeschooling. Right now, you guys all know that my family is going through a transition, and in that process of the transition, homeschooling has kind of taken a back burner. And I hate to say it like that, but it's kind of true. It's more so life experience type situations, and we're doing pretty much the bare minimum when it comes to book work. So we're doing go read, and we'll do a little bit of math, and that's pretty much it. They will do their geography stuff because they like it, but as far as normal book work, they're not doing their normal workload. And my hope and my prayer is that that will change by May 1st or so, that we'll be able to fully get back into the swing of things. And so we did that for me, for my sake, being honest. Hey, best friend. Being honest, I did that for me because what we are undertaking is a lot for me, on top of the entrepreneurship, on top of the homeschooling, on top of all that stuff. It's a lot. Okay. Yeah. Life is lifing. It really is. Doing life right now, life 101. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing life. Now they do read, they do some of their work, but they don't do the normal course load. And it kind of sucks for them. I'm gonna be honest with you, because they know though that when we get back and we kick in a gear, that we're kicking in 100%. Like, we're gonna kick into overdrive and make up some of the stuff that we missed, which we technically don't have to do. But there are certain places that I set in goals. We set goals for them to be at the end of the school year, and with this happening unexpectedly, it kind of pushed us back about a month. And so in order for them to be okay, we're going to have to go into overdrive. Either that means that we're going to have to do, a little bit more work up until May, or we'll have to continue to homeschool through June, possibly a little bit of July. So that's what that means for us and our family. And I like the fact that we can be fluid like that. We can move and we can do whatever it is that we want to do. But that's what's going on with us. Let's see, I can't think of anything else to tell you or anything else to ask. I don't think I was supposed to come back with any information. But it's a question, it's a Q&A, y'all. So y'all gonna have to ask some questions. Like, y'all can't just sit here and let me talk. I mean, you could, but who wants to do that? Like, who wants to do that? um, but yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm trying to think of something that I, something keeps saying, let's talk about socialization, but I get tired of talking about socialization, y'all. Just being honest with you. I get really tired of talking about it because for some reason, people think that that's the main focus. Like, oh, your kid is going to miss out on socialization. When literally, they get in trouble for socializing at school. And then on top of that, a lot of us choose to homeschool because we don't want them. Not a lot of us. Let me stop speaking for the masses. Some of us choose to homeschool because we don't want them socializing with your bad kids. Can we just be frank? Can we just be real? Your kids are are a mess. And some of the behaviors that you guys are allowing them to do are some of the behaviors that we don't choose to have them be a part of, period. Some of us are homeschooling because of safety reasons and concerns, right? But your kids are bad, fam. That's why some of us homeschool. Your kids are bad, and you don't care, and you let them go up to that school and get on the teacher's nerves and be bad. Like, and we don't do that around here. So I mean, that's the bulk of it. That's Some of us are like that, and for me, that was never an issue, because we always try to teach our kids to be leaders and not followers. Now we do have a particular child that we know for sure is a follower, that he will follow the crowd based off of if he thinks they're going to say something. So that's something that we're working on. Just being honest with you. But yeah, we didn't want to expose them to your bad kids. Your kids are bad. Like, we didn't want that. We didn't want that at all. Let's see. Hey, Chelsea. Chelsea says, how do you expand the Guru Click to Houston? So Chelsea, short of it being online, some of the things that I have done, well, I've actually been, I don't know if I told you this, Chelsea. I have traveled to Houston and I did a whole in-person live Q&A and nobody showed up. Like, I was sitting there. Is that somebody? Is that somebody? Are you here for me? Like, I did that. I did that a couple years ago. Drove all the way down to Houston just for that, and had a lot of responses like, "Oh, I'll be there. I'm going. I'm doing this," and then nobody showed up. And so, Houston traveling is a little much for me. I've done it in Missouri. I've done it in Atlanta. I did it in Atlanta as well. Atlanta, I think one or two people showed up, maybe one in Atlanta. And so I guess until I just I I guess I need to get out my feelings and trust God in the fact that this is the path that He has put me on, and that the people will be there when they need to be there. Like whoever needs to be there will be there. Period. But yeah, I've actually been to Houston. I've actually done that. That was the awesomeness of homeschooling. You can start and take a back seat and pick back up. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Shelby, their kids are bad, fam. They're bad. Did you have any regrets in the beginning of homeschooling or now? That's a good question. So I regret not starting earlier. Well, I don't necessarily regret not starting earlier. I regret so much time, the time that I spent doubting myself. Like I regret that because what would happen is I would spend so much time trying to make a decision on something over and over and over and over again, like the same decision, which would be a waste of time. And so I do regret that. I regret not trusting my capabilities. But now that Ayana is in college and she's doing fine and she's doing good, I'm okay. I'm okay. Do I regret homeschooling? No, not at all. I don't regret it. There are some times though, I've told you, you know, Nisha in particular, I told you in our friend group that I consider, you know, maybe I need to put the boys in school, and it's because of some kind of personal concerns about them. And even though we have a specific plan for the boys, maybe I'm not good enough. Like just being transparent. I don't know how to be anything but transparent with you guys. But maybe I'm not doing enough, or maybe I'm not, you know, maybe I'm missing something, or maybe they are better off in the traditional school system. That sometimes that is a thought for me, especially my kid who is not as extroverted as the others. And so sometimes there's a little bit of regret. Chelsea said, "Oh no, I got you." Yeah, Chelsea. So I did. I traveled down there. I drove all the way down there. It was me and the kids. I drove all the way down there. We did a overnight stay. We got there. I took them to, I believe it was NASA. We took them to NASA, and they did a field trip and did all that there. And then my meet and greet was the following day, and nobody showed up. I was there by myself with my kids. My kids were just looking at me like, what are we doing? And they were younger too. And so I did that a long time ago. But I mean, I think that as time goes on, I'm just gonna have to kind of just go, and who shows they show, and who doesn't they don't. Like I can't worry about that. I can't do that. Like, but if I'm gonna be available, part of me being a part of the community is being in the community, right? So that's me being there when I say that, you know, I am a part of that homeschooling community. So eventually it'll happen. It may happen in the next year or so. The plan was actually for it to happen in July, but again, life is lifing right now. And so we'll push that back as far as that's concerned. Thank y'all so much for joining me. If you are here and you are new, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you're here. Put something in the comments. If you're an old Google Click member like Nisha and Kristen, best friend, and Chelsea, at this point, Chelsea, you pretty much old school because you've been here for a while. Y'all put a one in the comments for me. Let me know. Okay. Let me know that you're here. But yeah, so that's what's going on, y'all. What are y'all doing for dinner? I'm like, I took out ground beef, and I was gonna do some meatballs with like actually I was gonna do Swedish meatballs, but I was gonna do Swedish meatballs because I don't use pork anymore. I don't eat pork anymore. And so I was gonna do the beef Swedish meatballs, and then when I looked in my refrigerator, we didn't have any darn sour cream. So that's a no, and I ain't going to the store. Forget that. Kids want McDonald's. Chicky nuggets. Give them some chicky nuggets. HEB ready meals. Okay, Chelsea. See, I don't know. I think I'm gonna order pizza. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Because by the time, y'all, Mason's practice, you know, I want to say thank God for my son's team and his coach. But getting home at 9 o'clock at night on a school night, like from soccer practice, is a mess. It is a mess. But that's what happens 3 days a week now. We get home at 9 o'clock at night. 9 o'clock at night from practice. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna do pizza. I think that's what I'm gonna do, the little local pizzeria. Get one of those pesto pizzas and something else for them to eat and be done with it. Because I'm over it. I'm not cooking. And I don't want to go to the grocery store and I need groceries. How about that? Is this a homeschool sports team? No, this particular team is not. It is select soccer. Um, my older son played for a homeschool basketball team. There are some homeschool soccer teams out there. I know of one right now that's actually in North Texas that's kind of generating a little bit of attraction traction. It's getting started, and I said attraction, but generating traction. And it's getting started, but it's kind of up in the Keller area, so that's kind of far for a lot of people. There are some teams or some groups that have soccer teams, but they don't start until middle school or high school or like high school. And so Mason is not of age to play soccer there, so he doesn't do that. But they do basketball. He wants to play homeschool basketball next year. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know, but he plays with a select team. It started with him playing rec though. Soccer, he started playing rec when he was 5 years old, and he's been playing ever since, like every year. And he's 13. Every year. Okay. Y'all got to ask the questions now. I can't think of anything else. I talk about the same things every time. That's why y'all got to ask questions. Hey, Leandria. Hey, Sean. I'm glad you addressed that life be happening, and sometimes it requires to pause. I'm there with you. I honestly have been tired of people and their opinions about homeschooling. People be offering their opinions without you asking. Yeah, Leandria. And so this is how I have decided, or this is how I deal with people who give me their opinions about homeschooling, especially if it's not someone like my mom or my dad or somebody who I know wants the best for us, thinks, that they, not thinks, but they want the best for us. I typically tell them, like, hey, my husband and I, we prayed about it. We believe that this is a decision that we're supposed to, make. It doesn't mean that it's permanent. It could change at any moment, but otherwise, this is what it's going to be. Like, this is going to be, and we don't have to continue to discuss it ever again. Like, thank you, I hear you, but I don't need you to voice your opinion anymore. I heard what you said, because these are my children. I mean, so mind your own self business. How about that? Like, mind your own self business. What is select sports? I don't know anything about sports in Texas. Sports is really different. Living overseas has me out of the loop. Oh, Shelby Child. Okay, so it's just like a higher level of rec. Well, it's not even rec. It's just a higher level of play. So you come in and you play recreational. So basically, anybody can kind of come in and play. Anybody, any skill level, and they play. There's equal playing time, all that kind of stuff, right? Then there's like academy, which is a little bit more competitive, but same type of situation. The coach can pick, do whatever the case may be. Then there's select, and the select soccer is higher level than that. That's where the team where they try out, they do tournaments, they may travel, they do all that type of stuff. Then there's like academy, which is even higher than that, and it goes to the semi pros and the pros. So it's a higher level of competitiveness, is what it is, Shelby, to be honest with you. So I mean, it's not that big of a deal. The only reason why I mentioned that it is a select team is because the level of commitment when you start moving up in those levels, it's insane. So when you do, recreational soccer, you do a season in the fall and you do a season in the spring. You may have practice one, maybe two times a week, and then you go on about your business, right? And then you have a game on Saturday. As you go into academy, you may have a little bit more, same type of situation, but a little bit more competitive. When you go into select, you start doing practice 2 to 3 times a week. You're playing games, you're playing in 2 different leagues, you're doing tournaments, like it's a bunch of different stuff. You do travel, all that stuff. And then as it gets higher, you do more travel. Like some of these teams, we are not one of the teams, thank God. But if Mason wants to reach his goal, it's one of the things we're going to have to do. But what some teams travel a lot, like travel once a month, like either out of state or to other parts of the state to do or play soccer teams. So it's just a different level. That's all it is, different levels. Hey, friend, we're doing homeschool because the behaviors were becoming bad for mine, and I'm not about that life. I know some of their special needs plays a factor, but it will not be the escape or excuse. Yeah. So I mean, and that's a legitimate thing, right? So, and a lot of people talk about that. You guys, you can't shelter your school, you can't shelter your kids. And if you're a believer, one of the things you'll hear from believers is that, oh, we're supposed to be the light, but we can't be the light if we're pulling our kids away from the darkness. And it's like, my kid is 13 years old. It is not his responsibility to light up the entire world. Now it is his responsibility to take on, if he's a believer and he wants to live right, live according to the word of God. Yes, that is his responsibility, but he's not supposed to go into a battlefield of an elementary school or middle school and light up the elementary school. Do you get what I'm saying? That's not something that I want him to do. I want him to live accordingly, and I want his life to speak for that. But I don't want that. That's a heavy burden to bear when you're 12 and 13 years old. That's the first thing. The second thing is the way that our family lies. It's very interesting. It's very strange. We are believers. We are conservative-ish in some of our thoughts and some of the things that we believe. We are liberal-ish in some of the thoughts and things that we believe. And so, like, basically, in our mindset, we are at the point of we've got our own mess to go to God with. We've got our own sins, our own screw ups, all of that. We've got our own business to worry about, to be worrying about somebody else's business and what they're doing. Like, let them live their life. So we're like literally right center in between. And because of that, we don't necessarily fit everywhere, right? Because we're not super conservative, even though we have some conservative ways and conservative thoughts. We are not all the way on the spectrum, like all the way on the other end of conservativeness. And then because we do believe that they have a right to live their life either way, and my responsibility is to love you as a Christian, period, point blank. We're not all the way on the spectrum of liberals, then we kind of sit in the middle. And so that makes a difference for us, because we're teaching our kids now that, hey, there are some things that are happening that don't line up with the word of God. However, you are also doing things that do not line up with the word of God, and this is how you respond to those type of situations. You love unconditionally, and you mind your own self business. You try to fix yourself before you try to go fix somebody else. And so that's it. That's how we choose to do it, or whatever. Hey, Shawanda. In my area, I've been searching for homeschool moms with like minds and are diverse. But I'm hitting a wall. Any online suggestions for helping me find other diverse homeschoolers for kiddos to chat with? Yeah, so I talked about this last week. It's hit or miss. Can I just being very honest with you? But you have to put yourself out there. Like, you have to get out there and try to connect with other moms and other people, and see how it is. Because even I don't always click. I think I think for me, when I stopped looking for when I stopped looking for Christian homeschoolers specifically, I found my people. And or when I stopped saying dumb stuff like, I don't want secular homeschooling, I want Christian homeschooling, I found my people. Because the fact of the matter is, secular doesn't always mean bad, right? It just doesn't mean maybe they believe what I believe. And So that's one of the things. So it was trial and error. Like, I would go into places and I would instantly know if I was in the conservative Baptist, you know, type situation, and they weren't for me. Because guess what, we're not going to do a bunch of stuff out of I was going to say religion, out of ritual. Like, we're not getting ready to do that if it's not in scripture, if there's no reason for it. We're not going to do all that stuff, and y'all know some of the stuff I'm talking about. And so it's trial and error. Just being extremely honest with you, it's trial and error. It's putting yourself out there. It's trusting the process. It's hoping for the best. It's making sure that you are presenting yourself as available, as an option, as wanting to be in their circle. And then if you get in there and the circle is not what you think it is, it's like, you know what? You be blessed. Mm, you be blessed. Like, it's that type of situation. Okay. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to. Because there are people out there that are looking for you too. Like, there are people just like you, but they probably are thinking the same thing. Like, oh, I can't find my people. And you might be sitting right there not knowing that. Yes. Do you know of any reading resources for struggling readers? So it depends on what type of struggling they are doing. If it's an issue of reading comprehension, I have a book that we still use, because we had issues with reading comprehension. We did it for month after month after month. It was exercises. They were only like 5 or 10 minutes long. and we did them every single day as part of our starter. And I noticed that it made a huge difference in the way that my child was responding to reading. Even though he didn't necessarily like reading, it was an issue of like he was reading the words, like just literally reading the words and not understanding, not picturing. So, like when I read a book or when I read something, I visualize what I'm reading. He was not visualizing anything he was reading. He was literally just reading the words. And so when he was reading the ball, so for instance, the ball ran down the hill. I see a ball rolling down the hill and I want to know, I'm thinking, is this ball big? Is it small? Is it red? Is it blue? Is it green? Is it going fast? Is it going slow? Like those are the type of things that cause me to like visualize what's happening. My son, when I would say the ball rolled down the hill, he'd just literally say the ball rolled down the hill. Okay, well, son, what do you see when the ball rolled down the hill? When you see that, when you read that sentence, what do you see? And he was like, nothing. I mean, the ball rolling down the hill. Like it's just the ball rolling down the hill. And so helping him visualize what he was reading was good. Another thing that you can do for a struggling reader is let them read what they want to read. I know that sounds stupid. I know it may not be something that you want to do, but let them read what they want to do. Read. I had to just tell Mason the other day, you're not reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid anymore. Like we are beyond that. You have read both of the Hunger Games. We are beyond Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I know you love it. I know it's one of your favorite books, but we're gonna also get these big old chapter books as well. And so I had to tell him that yesterday, but allow them to read what they want to read, whatever it is, allow them to read it. One of the things that we do is audiobooks, right? And so audiobooks is reading as long as they're paying attention and they're not, in their own world or doing whatever it is. But we do audiobooks. And so I use Scribd to do that. SCRIBD. I see Scribd. I don't know if it's scribed. I don't know. But we use those audiobooks all the time. When we went to Missouri, it was like almost, well, I'm not gonna tell you how long of a drive. It was supposed to be almost like an 8-hour drive. It was not an 8-hour drive. Not telling you why that. It was much shorter. Um, but what we did was we listened to audiobooks part of that time, and it was one of my books, and it was a murder and suspense because that's what I like, right? It was a suspense type situation. Now, it wasn't murder like it described the murder, but it was like murder like the person was running in the park and he ran up on a person and the body thought they were alive and they weren't alive, something like that. And then it describes that the person was clean but they had a little bit of blood, something like that. And then it goes into the suspense about who killed that person, doing the research, all that kind of stuff. It was that kind of situation. But in the car, the kids were sitting there eating their snacks, listening to it like it was a darn movie, like they were excited about it. And so again, audiobooks, let them read what they like. Read to them. My 16-year-old, he's still 16. I still read with him. We're reading a book right now about basketball coaching strategies. He reads to me like 2 or 3 pages, then I read to him 2 or 3 pages. As long as he's reading and he's listening and it's a topic that he loves, I'm good with it. I still read to my 16-year-old. It doesn't bother me, but the expectation though also is that he reads to me as well. JQ says we do audiobooks too. I ask questions after a chapter two. Yes, ask questions to make sure they're following along. During audiobooks, because my kids are older and they do have their phone, they're not allowed to have their phone, stuff like that. If they are laying on the floor, they can lay on the floor and listen, but I want them to focus and I want to ask the comprehension questions to make sure that they're following along and understand. And then something I will do also is before we start reading it again, I'll be like, hey, where did we leave off? Like what happened, to see if they are paying attention and following along. And most times they are. They like the suspense books. They like them. They're kind of weird like their mom. They like those. And so I let them, let's listen to a suspense book. I let them listen to that. We read Hunger Games, both the book 1 and 2. We read both of those and then we listened to both of them. And then we watched the movie, both of them. And so do those type of things. And that's a whole lesson. You can do a whole unit study on something like that. It was Hunger Games. We did book 1 and book 2. We compared. We wrote our own paragraphs. We wrote a different ending. We did all kind of stuff. We lined it up to see if anything was like some of the things that were happening could possibly happen in the future in our world. Like that was a whole lesson. But that was a whole thing. We read the books. both of the books, and then we listened to the audiobooks, and then we did the movie. And I don't even know, I think they wanted to do it. It wasn't intentional. I thought we were just going to read the books and then move on, but the kids wanted to hear the audiobook and watch the movie. So, I mean, just let them do what they enjoy. Let them do it. Let's see, audiobooks for sure. If it's more complex, like dyslexia, then invest on Gilham's reading program. I've never heard of that program. There you go. There's a suggestion. There's a suggestion. But yeah, I mean, let them read what they want to read, but encourage them to read. I think at some point, even if you're unschooling, I was having a coaching session today with someone, and I was telling them, even if you're unschooling, your child should be reading. Like, I don't care. That should be a base requirement. It doesn't mean, and it could be reading a recipe. It could be reading, I don't know, it could be writing your own story, whatever. Reading is, it doesn't matter. But if you're a homeschooling, your base ground should be reading of some type, some sort. There should be reading in there because that's going to help them down the line. There should be, like, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, there should not be you should not be homeschooling and your child not reading at all, like anything, not audiobooks, not in, like, no, that's not going to help you in the long run. Even if it's child led, like, it's not going to help you when it gets down to it and you need to actually do the schoolwork. Okay, that was a good question. People ask about reading all the time. It was weird for me to have my kids struggle with reading, or my kids struggle with reading because it was nothing. My mom, and see, I wonder, maybe I didn't do the right thing just thinking about that. So my mom, when I was younger, we went to the library every single week, and I don't even know why she did that. I should ask her that. I don't know why she instilled that. Every week, my sister and I, she took us to the library to pick out books. Not every week. That's not true. Maybe, like, let's just say every 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. We went to the library. We picked out books and we read them. Once we finished them, we returned and we went back. Like, every time in the summertime, I used to hate it. Oh my God. She used to have me read books and write a book report. I used to want to fight her. Like, why? This is summertime, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, I used to get so mad at her every summer. She would have me grab a book and I would have to write a book report. I never wrote the book reports. I actually used the cliff notes. I don't know if she ever noticed or, thought that I, did that replication. But I used to be so irritated with her. Like, why are we doing book reports during the summer, man? Look, if you look, like, what we doing? That's hilarious. I just remember that. But I did that. I never did that with my kids though. And I wonder if, although I do take them to the library at least once a month or something like that, but I wonder if I would have started that earlier with all of my kids when they were, like, super young, if it would have made a difference now with one of the children that does not like to read. But I learned that part of the reason why he doesn't like to read is because of the lack of comprehension. He doesn't visualize what he's reading. He wasn't visualizing what he was reading. They were words. It wasn't coming alive to him. Like, I used to ask him, like, when you read a book, like, you can't see what you're reading, like it comes alive to me, right? I see what I'm reading. He could not. It wasn't that way for him at all. All right, do me a favor, guys. There are 6 people in here. Let's share and get some people in the room because 9 times out of 10, either they're homeschooling and they have questions. There's some information that they did not know, or there's somebody who's judgy, McJudgington, and wants to see and nosy, and that this is a good place for them to be nosy and ask questions. Did y'all come on in here? Otherwise, I can't think of anything else about the reading. Um, I don't know. I can't think of anything else. But yeah, get them involved or reading things that they enjoy or they like. It's 7:45. I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do. It's actually 7:43. I'm gonna get off of here in a little bit. So give me 2 or 3 more questions, and then we're gonna jump off of here for the day. And I will be back with you next Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm gonna keep this up for you guys, okay? So in the meantime, while you're living life and you're homeschooling life, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, get your questions together so we can talk and have these conversations and I can answer them for you. That's what I'm here for. There's no reason for you to struggle in these homeschool streets. I say that all the time. Like that's almost my motto, but it's not. But there's literally no reason for you to struggle in these homeschool streets when I'm sitting here saying, I got you, what you need. And if I don't know the answer, I know where to find the answer, right? Like I know where to go as far as that's concerned. But there's no reason to struggle. Okay. There's no reason at all when you've got people, a community of people that are here and available to help you. So, hey, who has bought tickets to my different events? So I've got a couple of, ooh, I think I'm supposed to turn something in for one of those events. I have a couple of events coming up in June. Who signed up to be a part of that? Who's going to be here in Texas at the Homeschool Expo, the Texas Homeschool in Grapevine? Because I'd like to do some type of meetup, maybe grab some coffee with all of us together, or maybe go grab some lunch. We can all meet up and go grab some lunch, something like that. JQ says, how early do you start planning for the next school year? I don't start until the summer. So I will start around after the conference, really. So after the conference is usually the first, not usually. The conference every year is the first Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of June every year. It's that weekend. And then I take the rest of that time off. Starting July 1st, I start going through researching and start doing all that stuff. So I start planning for the school year there. And and if you are unfamiliar with the way that I plan or the way that we school a year round ish. It's not fully year round when I think about it, but basically what we do is, excuse me, we try to start somewhere around mid-July or in the end of July. We do 6 weeks on and then 1 week off, 6 weeks on, 1 week off the whole entire year, all the way down until the year is done. And that allows for me to be able to take a break in between that 6 weeks. Gives me a break, because it's a lot, right? It's a lot on our plate. And it also gives me time to review and make sure that they're on track with the plan of whatever it is that we're doing. So I start with goal planning, the end game, like period, where they want what they want to do, and then I break it down to the goal of the year, and then I break it down into what I want them. How do I reach those goals by semester? And then I break it down even smaller to 6 week sections. And I try to plan 2 6 weeks, so a total of 12 weeks at a time, so that I always have one in the pocket. Does that make sense? So I try to plan a total of 12 weeks, and so I'm already 6 weeks ahead of each section. Doesn't always happen, but I try to do that. I try to do that, just in case, like right now in this instance, and I see I don't have it planned. I already used my one in the pocket, right? And so right now, where we've got a situation going on with our family and we have to take a break, and my kids can't move on autopilot because I don't have that now. And also, they can't move on autopilot because there's no way for them to do it in the midst of what we're doing right now. I'll be at Grapevine one, got my ticket. Oh, you did? Okay, cool, JQ. Yeah, so I will post the links when I get off of here, but there are two events that I'm actually speaking in, and then there's one event that I saw that I thought would be cool. I will post all three of those in the comments. And I wanted to do something, like I said, for the Texas Homeschool Expo. I think it's the weekend of my birthday. It's the 11th and the 12th, I believe, or the 10th and the 11th, something like that, or the 9th and the 10th. I don't know. My birthday is on June 11th. It's that weekend. It's right after the conference. Um, I have put, so I want to do something with everyone that's there, kind of do, and it's not necessarily a meet and greet, but I do want to spend time with the community. I want to be there. Like I want to say, hey, let's go grab some coffee as a group, or hey, let's go grab some lunch as a group, just something simple. Or hey, well, my kids won't be well, they might be with me, but hey, let's go to the park or some, like I want to be able to do that. Yeah. Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. Yep, the music and art one. Yes. So that one looked interesting to me. I am not a part of it. Like I'm not actually a part of the actual conference, but it looks interesting, right? Music and art is something that is important. And I ain't gonna lie, I wish I kind of would have incorporated or could have. I still can. It's not over with, but I wish that I had would have incorporated a little bit more music and art into the actual into our homeschooling journey. Music, I told y'all I played three instruments growing up, and recently have decided that I want to go back and start playing another one or playing it. So I'm gonna do that once I get situated. But yeah, so those three. So I have two events that I'm speaking at in, and then I have my own event, and then I have the music and art one. So I'm gonna post all four of those links for you to look at and see if it's something that you may be interested in. I do want to do some type of meet and greet, and what I may do as far as the Texas Expo is just set it up, like just say, hey, we're going to meet here at this time after my session or after that, and see if you guys show up. Just kind of see what happens. But all right, guys, it is 7:49. I will take one more last question, but if y'all don't say nothing, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. But I will be back with you. This is gonna be a consistent thing for me, Tuesdays and Thursdays around 7-ish because of life. I try to get here on 7 o'clock, but like today, as soon as I didn't even drop Mason off until 7, and I try not to do lives with him because he's a wild, like he's something else, y'all. He flies off the map, like he shoots off his mouth sometimes. And I don't know what he's gonna say. It makes for good lives, but it's kind of crazy for me, right? Because I don't know how to respond to sometimes to what he says. But he's not a loose cannon. He just kind of he's his mama's child. He says what he thinks, unfortunately. And sometimes it can be a little mean or inappropriate. And I have to say, okay, hey, let's find a nicer way or a kinder way to say what we're trying to say. Okay, JQ, I knew you was gonna stick up for him. Don't do him like that. You know I'm telling the truth. He's something else. That's my dude, but he's something else. He's something else. All right, y'all. It is 7:50. I'm gonna jump off of here. I will be back again next week, Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have your stuff ready. Okay. Have your questions ready. Anything you can think about, put it in your notes app in your phone or text it to yourself or something like that. Anything you can think about while you are homeschooling for the next few days, put it in your phone and let's get ready to answer these questions. There is literally no reason for you to struggle in these homeschool streets when I'm here ready and available to assist you. Okay. All right, guys. I will talk to y'all soon. Y'all have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Thank y'all. Yeah, weekend is coming. Y'all have an absolutely wonderful weekend. I will see you guys soon. Bye.